Hey guys, welcome back to Build It Yourself. I'm Diego, and it's been over a week since we made it back from SEMA. We had a blast at the show. It was a lot of fun, and it was great to meet some of you in person and see your reactions after seeing the car for the very first time. It was such an exhausting mission. When we got back, we literally rolled the car off the trailer, and it's been sitting here since. It was a very long and wet drive back. We actually got stuck in a snowstorm, so the car is pretty disgusting right now. Now, even though we had the car all put together for SEMA, there's still a couple of things we have to do to finish it up. We have an oiling problem we haven't fixed. It needs more fuel. The engine vibrates like a Hitachi magic wand. And we want to keep messing with the exhaust. Some of you guys may have noticed the sound is not exactly the same as it was on the original exhaust video, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. But before we get to all of that, let's get this car cleaned up.
All right, now that the car is all cleaned up, we want to take it out and do a little bit of R&D. So at SEMA, we drove it around a couple times, revved it, and it didn't quite sound the same as before, and a lot of you picked up on that. Before we took the car to SEMA, we modified the exhaust a little bit to try to get away from the ringing sound the resonant chamber had, and we added some stiffening rods, and we wrapped some heat wrap around the outside to try to reduce the vibration sound. And we think that might have hurt that high RPM F1 whale sound. But the sound clips we grabbed in Vegas were not under our normal conditions, so we don't know. We didn't rev it as high. We didn't capture it when it was at the peak RPM. So we're going to take it back to our spot where we recorded it last time and grab the sound there so we can compare apples to apples and see what exactly insulating that chamber actually caused. Another thing we didn't address before SEMA was the oiling issue. We just filled this oil pan to the brim, as much oil as we could, hoping that would help. But when we were doing some of the pulls in Vegas, it did not help. We were having pressure fluctuations we could see on the data log. So we're gonna have to work on that. But before we do that, we wanna get some more information. So we're gonna put up a mechanical oil pressure gauge directly into the engine feed. That way we can watch the pressure and see if the needle, how fast it bounces around, if it's an aeration problem, a starvation problem. Hopefully this will help us. So we're gonna put this up on the windshield and watch the pressures as we're doing the pulls. So let's go ahead and take this thing out for a spin.
All right, we're at the spot. Now we're gonna drive this thing. We're gonna do a flyby the same way we did with the exhaust, but this is as the car was at SEMA. So after the modifications to the canister. Let's go. All right, so it definitely sounds different. It doesn't have that resonating sound anymore, the wail up top. We're gonna have to work on this thing because I think the stiffness of that canister might be making a difference. Adding those rods, that strap, probably hurt the noise up top. It got rid of the ringing down low, but we want the wail up top. So let's test one more thing out. We're gonna try and remove that strap that Jack added to the canister. So this is basically gonna be the canister with the two rods welded to it. Let's see what kind of sound we get. A little bit, right? A little bit. All right, let's test this out. We definitely lost it. It's no longer a whale anymore, so.
Even now?
Yeah, even now.
So the rods are...
How's the oil pressure?
No, that one was doing funky.
It was?
When I came off throttle, the pressure started to build again. Before heading back, we decided to try wrapping the resonating chamber with insulation to see if we could notice a difference with a fully insulated chamber.
All right, it's definitely much deeper. So that chamber stiffness is making a huge impact on that F1 whale sound we're going for. All right, guys, we're back at the garage. The car is back on the hoist.
Where it belongs, where it always stays.
On the hoist. We just got back from driving the car and
recording the audio clips. You got to hear it from outside.
Yeah, I was hearing it from the outside, and I think
it's different.
We've lost it. Basically, we've lost it. So, right, we tried a couple different scenarios. No strap. We even added insulation around it, and I don't know.
It didn't seem. You said
no,
it didn't change.
To me, it basically sounded the same, all of them, right?
So it's not something to do with like insulating the outside. You know, we added these guys, which we thought didn't do anything, but apparently.
No, they definitely did. They definitely, you know, it's like, it still has a little bit of a ring to it, but nowhere near what it had before, right?
Or, well, it doesn't sound the same.
Yeah,
right?
So
we got to cut these out and then patch them up and try that.
Try it again. Because we don't want to lose that whale up top, right? So there's two options. We either compromise on the bottom end noise and we just have it ringing like it did before, or we've been talking, we got to redesign this entire system and do some kind of valve, right?
Yeah, do some type of valving so we have a quiet at lower RPM, but the scream at higher RPM.
Right, so that's going to be version 2 of the exhaust. I think that's going to be
version
3? I guess 3, yeah, this is 2.
Yeah, we f***ed up with 2.
So that's for the exhaust, but we're going to have to handle that at a different time because we have a lot of work to do in the meantime.
Yeah, we got other fish to fry. Well, you saw the oiling, right?
Yeah.
Or it's no good. Yeah, so we have an oiling problem for sure. We had the data log, we put on the mechanical gauge, and the mechanical gauge just showed it dropping as the RPMs climbed.
Confirmed what we saw in the log, basically. Once you get past like 4,000 RPM or 5,000, it just starts dropping and dropping and dropping.
So we've been just hammering this engine over and over again on like 20 PSI.
I really hope this engine isn't hurt because otherwise we might...
We've done, what, 6 pulls? But now we know we need to do something with the oiling. And that brings us to topic number 3, that we have a problem. We kind of glanced over it last time. This engine is shaking a lot, so we mentioned it last video, but we didn't really dive into it. After we rebuilt it at like, all the time it's shaking,
RPM
but
is the worst.
2,000 is real bad. So we've been talking with the engine shop, and we're thinking there's a problem with the balance of the crankshaft. So we're gonna try a couple things. We're gonna pull the tranny out, just take off the clutch, because maybe the clutch is causing, we put it on wrong, even though it's the same clutch, flywheel, balancer, everything is
exactly
the
same,
right?
but
Except
the crank. Yeah.
And number 10 rod.
Yeah, that was a new one.
Yeah. Everything is the same, but it's shaking.
Really bad.
Yeah, really bad. So we're gonna try that first, and if it's not, the engine gets to come out yet again. The crankshaft gets to come out yet again. We'll take this crank, the old crank, back to the shop so they could compare the balances and hopefully get us dialed back in, because can't be driving it
no
like
way,
this.
no. It's just another problem. Yeah. I just hope that hasn't created other problems.
Yeah.
You know,
and we haven't driven it much. We had to drive it some, but we didn't drive it much.
All right, let's get this crank cleaned up before we take it to the shop, get all the rust and all the grime out of it. We left this thing sitting outside for a while because, well, we thought we were done with this. Here in the Midwest, when temperatures drop and work doesn't stop, you need stuff that can actually keep up with you. And that's exactly why I'm rocking my Brunt Marin boots. And I'm not the only one. Now let me talk about these Marin boots really quick. These things are built for real work. They're warm, they're durable, and honestly, these are some of the most comfortable boots I've ever worn, especially when the winter months get rough. Whether you're on concrete, climbing ladders, or trudging through mud, these boots give you the support that lasts all day. And thanks to Brunt's signature cushion footbed, you'll be comfortable all day too. I've been wearing these for over a year and they have not disappointed. And I have the Comp Toe boots, so my toes are safe around the shop. Now, if brown isn't your color, you're in luck. Brunt has released the all-black limited edition boot on their website. And it's not just boots, they also have a limited edition hoodie on their website, which looks sick. If you've been waiting for the perfect time to upgrade your work gear, this is it. And these would even make great gifts for the holidays. I know I'd be pumped if I got a Brunt work jacket for the winter over the holidays. So check out Brunt using the link in the description below, and make sure you go grab those limited edition drops before they're all gone. And treat your feet to some boots that actually work as hard as you do. Brunt is so confident you'll love these, they'll let you try any of their gear on the job, and if you don't love it, send it back. Get $10 off your first order of $60 or more by visiting bruntworkwear.com/buildityourself10. That's bruntworkwear.com, and use the code BuildItYourself10 to get $10 off your first order of $60 or more. Thanks to Brunt for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to the build. All right guys, transmission is out. That was a complete pain in the ass. We've never pulled a transmission with the subframe on the car. So now we've learned that we don't want to do that again. Yeah, Brianna, sorry. We've noticed there's some weird stuff happening with the pins here for the pressure plate. It looks like maybe the vibrations have caused these to bend a little bit. But we'll deal with that later. Right now what we're gonna do, we've brought this spare housing for MT82 we have. We're gonna bolt this up. It'll be easier for us to just bolt this up. All we need is the mounts for the starter, because now we wanna start the engine with no clutch, no pressure plate, to rule that out as the culprit for the vibration. So we're gonna mount this up, start the engine, and hopefully we'll figure out what else to do from there. All right, transmission bell housing is bolted up. We mounted everything back up. The subframe's back mounted on the car. Jack is up in the car right now. You ready?
I think so.
All righty, start this thing up and we'll see if it's shaking.
Ready?
Go for it. Okay.
I don't feel any shake.
What's the verdict?
No shake.
No shake. So it was the fucking pressure plate, dude. So this is the clutch pressure plate we removed. It's the exact same one we used originally, and nothing seems broken or off, so I'm not really sure exactly.
Is it the pins?
You don't feel any shake at all?
Smooth.
Wow.
Do you feel anything down there?
Yeah, my ear's bleeding.
Well, you didn't wear earmuffs?
No, I didn't wear earmuffs. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing here that we could
it's
see.
the pins being bent, then it's not centered. All right, so this is just a stock flywheel we have. So since the pins seem to be misaligned there, we're thinking this ballooned out. So if something happened to this pressure plate, these won't align. Well, that went in. Oh, yeah, it's not aligning.
It doesn't fit at all?
No. It only goes on one.
One.
Yeah, you can see, look. It's like the...
How did that... So, was it the pressure plate? Because, you know,
I mean, this is a Coyote, so it should rev fine, so it can't be us revving.
Revs.
I mean, we hit 8,700 one time.
Yeah.
Showed it on the fuel tech so people believe us. But...
Is this not rated
I'm
for
wondering
8,700?
if we didn't have enough clamp load on the bolts and it slid on the aluminum.
Because you could see, right, all those marks.
Those
How does it look like on the underside of this? Does it look like it's been slipping a lot?
yeah. See, it's like polished or not. You can see there's
all
some
around it,
erosion.
right?
So we didn't have enough
Clamp.
Clamp
What
load
torque
for-
did you use for these?
34 foot-pounds.
And is that factory or what?
I mean, I think I look...
All right, so here's the suspect. Here's their aluminum flywheel we just removed from the engine. And I don't know if you can pick up from the camera, but
it looks broken.
yeah, this pin is definitely bent outward. This one too. You can really see it there. Yeah, I guess the question really is, how do we prevent this from happening again? And is it because it's an aluminum flywheel and we just didn't torque it properly? Or, I don't know. But the pressure plate, you know, got loose somehow. Wasn't enough torque. And you can see it was moving on the flywheel. So that's why you have all these scars where the bolts are. And all the movement, all the vibrations. That's why we have a lot of heat marks and weird stains on here, which we didn't have before. So this flywheel's toast. Now we just have to figure out whether we want to replace this with the same one and just maybe torque the pressure plate better, or go with a completely different setup. Maybe just go back to a normal steel one. But that's going to be a problem for another video. We have to drop that engine, but at least we know the crank is balanced properly.
Sorry, Chris.
So we still have to take it apart because we're doing the dry sump, so it's kind of bittersweet type of thing, because if it wasn't for the oiling problem, we wouldn't be removing the engine again.
Are we going to check bearings?
Yes, at least one. Or at least the back two, right? Just the last two.
Number 10.
So I guess we're going to take all this out and drop the subframe, start working on the engine.
We got the oil pan off and the windage tray, and we're just gonna take it one step farther. Pull the number 10 cap.
Just to check, just curiosity. I mean, everything seems fine, honestly.
I mean, we did do a few pulls, and it was losing oil pressure, so
Yeah, and we also took it
expect
to
something.
the highest RPM ever this time around, 8,700.
Yeah, the limiter is not working on the.
We learned it wasn't working during the drive, so we got to figure that out too.
Yeah.
But let's take these out and inspect the bearings. Alright, crankshaft looks
Crank's gonna be
brand
fine.
new.
Let's see the bearing.
No, we still got some no cover. Started to get some dirt in there, something happened there.
It's touching there. Yeah, you can see it. The oil, right? The center is the only protected area.
Which was the same thing we saw the first time, right?
Yeah.
Because you have that oil feed. So, you know, how many more pulls before this went bye-bye? All right, now we can finally tackle this oiling issue we've been battling with this engine. As we've talked in the past two videos, we've been struggling with oil pressure dipping at high sustained RPM. So if we're getting on it basically at 4,500 or so, the oil starts dropping down, and that's not good for bearings. Basically, the reason why we've been having this issue is because we had to modify the oil pan quite significantly. You can see here, we cut a lot of capacity out. We tried adding some stuff, but didn't really make a difference. And this was due to the fact that we had to basically put this engine as low as we could on the subframe to fit under the hood of the Continental. Reduced oil capacity with high RPMs, it's not a good combination, as we've learned. So we can't add more oil capacity because we just don't have room with the headers, with the car. So we're kind of stuck in this place. Now, a lot of you guys mentioned we should upgrade the oil pump. And if you go back a couple of videos, actually a lot of videos when we first built this engine, this is actually already an upgraded pump. This is the GT500 3-valve pump, and we even upgraded the gears. We have billet gears in this thing, boundary pump gears. So we beefed up the oiling system as much as we could. Because we did that, we knew we were gonna have some struggles. We didn't know to what extent. Now we know we have serious oiling issues. So really, the only solution and what we've decided we're gonna go with is a dry sump system. Not because we need it for racing or really power, we just can't add enough oil capacity to fix that problem. So it's not the cheapest solution, but dry sump it is. But what exactly is a dry sump? Why are they only on cars like Corvette ZR1s, Ford GTs, Lambos, and Ferraris? Well, in short, They are the best way to feed an engine with oil in the most demanding situations, but they are not cheap or simple systems. A traditional wet sump system is what is on most production cars. There's an oil pan located at the bottom of the engine whose job is to catch and hold a surplus of oil that is used by the engine to lube all the bearings and parts. An oil pump internal to the engine sucks up oil from this reservoir and pumps it through the filter and all around the engine. While this system works more than fine for 99% of situations, it can starve the pickup of oil during hard cornering or high RPM use. This can be combated with baffles, trapdoors, and large volume sumps, but the ultimate fix is going to a dry sump system. A dry sump system has many more parts, including a separate oil tank, multiple stages of oil pump, and more lines and hoses. A dry sump system gets rid of the pan with the sump and replaces it with a separate oil tank. This means the oil pan can become much more shallow. The oil pump that was internal to the engine is now moved external and belt-driven. The pump can have from 2 to 6 stages. One stage is always reserved as the pressure pump from the tank to the engine. The other stages are used to suck oil and air from the crankcase. This means we don't need to have the oil only go to one area, but can be scavenged from many points. And it doesn't just suck in oil, it can pull in air too. This allows us to make more power by creating vacuum in the crankcase, which decreases windage and creates better ring seal. So not only do we get improved oiling performance, we make more power. The only drawback is the packaging space needed for all the components and the significantly higher costs. Now, since this is a Ford V10 made for Ford trucks, there's no off-the-shelf dry sump systems we can just go off and buy. So as things usually go on this channel, we're gonna have to make our own, or at least piece it together. We're talking to a couple oil pump companies to see what the best setup would be and what options we have. The tank, the lines, the regulator, the vacuum regulator, we're gonna have to source ourselves and piece together separately. But the one part we can't buy is the oil pan because, well, they just don't exist.
Since we have to design a whole new oil pan from scratch, we're gonna 3D scan the whole bottom end. And to do that, we have RevoPoint's new Metro Y 3D scanner. Every time these guys come out with a new scanner, we always take the opportunity to give it a try. We like to see how the technology is progressing because this is such a rapidly advancing space. And this is their new Metro Y Pro. We've used their Metro X, which this looks actually very similar to, but this thing is supposed to be significantly faster, like 2 times faster. It has over double the scan lines. Also, it has a higher volumetric accuracy, and the Metro Y Pro version actually lets you scan textures and colors. So this is supposed to be a significant upgrade from the Metro X we've tried in the past. One of the drawbacks of the older scanner is we always had to have it connected to the computer, and so you always had a wire while you're doing your scans. This thing is actually wireless. So this comes with a wireless kit that allows you to actually scan without being connected to the computer. And this also has like this phone mount here, so you can put your phone in here and mirror cast to your computer. So while you're scanning with the unit, it actually sits up here. While you're scanning with the unit, you can watch what you're scanning on your phone, and it's actually touch, you could control your computer from it. So we're gonna give that a try because that's pretty sick. So let's go ahead and get this thing set up and let's see what she's got. So right now I got my phone hooked up to the screen mirror on the computer, and I'm actually able to control the computer from my phone, so I could do everything I need from here. And like I said before, it is wireless, but we have it hooked up with a wire, and that's because we're running an older computer right now that's really not fast enough, so it needs all the help it could get, so we have to use the wire. So the Metro Y is a laser-based scanner, and with laser scanners you have to set up markers. So we have to put on marker stickers, and we also have some marker blocks we can add. And the goal is you need to have 5 of those in every shot. So we're gonna have to cover this thing basically so we can get a full scan. So let's start doing that.
All right, so you can see we got markers everywhere. We got these blocks that we've also added. So these are pretty cool because they just, you know, they got a magnetic base and all the markers are on there, so you don't have to stick stuff everywhere. They have height to it. The only problem with kind of these things is they ruin your geometry that you're trying to pick up, but luckily we don't really need anything here. And then we got the stickers on everywhere. Again, it needs a minimum of 5 per shot to actually pick up. Otherwise, you'll see on the screen it says not enough markers.
It'll tell you if it needs more markers.
So that's something to keep in mind and why you really need to put on a lot. But now we could go ahead. I think you having fun there?
I'm going a little overboard, but I think we're ready.
So we'll go ahead and take that thing and try it out here. All right, let's see what this can do. The phone having this here is really next level.
Don't have to keep looking back.
Yeah, I could just watch it here. We got it set up to use cross lines, so there's 34 cross line lasers on this. Like we said, the Metro X only had 14, so this is significantly more, and it really, I could see it scanning really fast. The detail is picking up too.
I was gonna ask, how's the detail on it?
Yeah, I mean, you can see how fast it's getting everything it needs to.
We always have an issue with the scanners picking up a lot of trash, right?
Yeah.
Is this one doing?
This one does not seem to be doing that. Let's. I mean, it hasn't given me a marker area yet, so you put enough markers. So right now we're only rocking at like 12, 13 FPS. If you have a better computer, you could get up to like 50, 60. So unfortunately, that's kind of hurting the speed, but still, this is picking up a lot of clear definition without having a lot of trash, or any trash really. All right, I think we got everything we needed. It freaking scans. It's really robust, which is what I'm surprised by the most.
What do you mean robust?
Like no tracking loss really.
Oh yeah, we didn't lose tracking once.
Yeah, no, you know, not a lot of fluff in the scan. So we got the scan now, but we want to show you guys how we actually get the scan into SolidWorks, because I think that's a little bit of a
black magic.
Yeah, you know, you don't really think about it, but it takes a little tricks to get it where we need to go. So let's take this. This is now the point cloud, right? The raw data from the scanner. Now we have to process it before we take it into, we use SolidWorks, but whatever 3D modeling program we use. So let's get this ready to go. Welcome to 3D Scan Post-Processing 101. I'm your Professor Jack. So we're gonna walk through a few steps that we do. So we got our raw scans. We actually went back and did a second scan. So this was the original one we took. We wanted more of the guts in here, so we took another scan and picked up more of the main bearings and caps and everything. First step we're gonna do is called fusion, and that's really just gonna go through and make all the points that are overlapping and just clean them up so it's much less data. So we have that now done with both of our things. You have some options here to do isolation. What that does is take out, you see how that's floating? I can set the percentage of size of things I want to remove from this. I don't want to do any of that, so I'm not going to do any of the isolation. And then you can go through and clean up the point cloud more with some, there's overlap detection, so if points are stacked on top of each other, it'll try to remove that. You can smoothen it by reducing the amount of points, and you can simplify also reducing the amount of points. All of these are trying to get to less and less point information. The next step, once we got our fusion, our point cloud from the fusion, is we're gonna mesh it. So what the meshing does is take all the points and connect them to make them into basically a surface. Just do a fast mesh, and we'll go ahead and let it run. That's it. Before, these were all individual points, so as you zoom in more and more, you can see how they're literally points in space. Once you mesh it, it actually creates it as a surface, so it connects all those points with polygons and rhombuses and stuff, and makes a flat plane now that, or not flat, but now these are made up of different surfaces, and you'll see that once we take it into SolidWorks. It kind of shows you that. You'll see it clearly. So let's go ahead and mesh this one. And then now, one thing we need to be cognizant of is, at least for us in SolidWorks, the size of the mesh will really bog down the computer. This guy can't quite handle much. So we have 806,000 polygons. I think we want to get this to about 100,000. What do you know? What 100?
I always have to simplify like over half. It's like
Okay.
it's a huge amount.
So you can see now we have all this information. So go to simplify, set a ratio. We'll go a higher, probably
70%.
Yeah, 75. So now it's going to take a whole bunch of those polygons and try to average them, put them together, and get you, instead of 8 big ones, they'll have just 1. So
If you have a capable computer, you don't really have to do this, but you know,
yeah,
it's just
and you got to consider what you're trying to do too. If you only need rough geometry, you don't need as much of the information, so it's okay. So there you can see now it's kind of dumbed it down. It took our polygons from 800,000 to 200,000. So all of this we're doing right now is in the Revo Scan software. So you get that with the scanner. I think it's
free. You download it
yeah,
for
you could
free.
download this for free from their website. But we always obviously use this with the scanner too, with their scanners. So okay, now we mesh this one. This one is much smaller of a scan, so it only has 90,000. So now we're kind of done. If you only had the one scan you wanted to export, you can do that. Since we have the 2, we're going to merge those together, and we're going to do that in the software too. That's this merge option here. We just select both of them, 1, 2, and then we'll let it do feature alignment, so I'll try to manually put them together. So let's take a look. So bada bing bada boom, and just put them together right on top of each other. Now we can go ahead and generate the model. I'll take those 2, put it into one merged mesh that we're going to export. So this will be kind of the last step in the Revo software. So there we go. So we got to go ahead and mesh this guy. So yeah, it's all points. We'll mesh it, do the same thing. So there, so it took all those points, made it a nice, pretty surface. We have 300,000 or 600,000 polygons.
And you can probably simplify that.
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna simplify this. This is now our final scan. You can see we have the triangle blocks and that block. You could cut those out using these tools here. Like I could create a square and delete that section if I want. You can mess with the cloud here before you take it in, but we don't really need to do anything. I'll just leave that. So now we're done with this merge mesh file. So I'm going to go ahead and export it. And you want to export the mesh model. Here now is your cloud or your mesh that you could import into other programs. We're going to do SolidWorks since that's what we have, and we'll just show you. There's a few dumb things you gotta kind of look out for. All right, so we got our SolidWorks open. We'll come here, go File, Open, go to where you have your mesh saved, where you export it. We'll click it here. Then you need to go to this area, go All Files, and go up to Scan to 3D Mesh Files, and hit Open. And now this is going to open up that mesh into its own part. You can see there's some errors here. We're not going to worry about it. You can still work with it with errors, but it's just seeing that there's some like floating stuff or holes. You can see those purple things. Now this is just, SolidWorks just sees this as a whole bunch of points in space with surfaces between there. So you can't use this directly for your CAD. What we have to do now is take reference geometry, surface planes, axes, XYZs, whatever. We got to find all of those on this and pick it off like we want. So for example, I need to create a plane of this surface. I'm gonna have to go in and create reference geometry, so feature reference geometry, and then I can select 3 references, and like I said, it's just a whole bunch of points in space, so you can see that yellow dot. You just choose one. Let's choose one over here, and a third one to create a plane. And there we go. So now I have one plane that I can use, and yeah, start designing from that scan. All right, so we got it to a point where we can start working on CAD based on our scan. Diego's gonna go ahead and take it away from here and start CADing up what he needs. While he's gonna be doing that, because it's gonna take a while, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on the fuel system, because we got some fuel upgrades, and this thing is gonna pump a lot of fuel. We've been sitting on this box for 3 months, and inside is all the parts we need to make sure that V10 gets fed with all the fuel it needs, thanks to our friends over at DeatschWerks. They hooked us up with a bunch of parts, everything we need to make sure that thing gets all the fuel it needs, and we're gonna go ahead and open this up now and see what we got. Already we got some goodies here. What is this guy? Is this? I don't think this is the pump. Oh, our regulator. We got our new fuel pressure regulator. This is, whew. So we got a new fuel pressure regulator we'll be throwing in there with all the fittings we need, the sensors. Oh man, there's Jesus. Dig in.
What is that?
Oh, the filter. We got a upgraded filter. Oh shoot, it comes with like some lube.
For the fittings or what?
Oh, maybe to install because there's O-rings in here, or not, you know, like
It's
rubber.
a cartridge filter too, it's nice.
Replace 10 micron.
10 micron.
That's what you need.
Getting it right this time.
Yeah, we learned. Oh, and wrenches.
Finally.
Woo-hoo. Stepping up in life. Should we go right to the big one?
That's the big boy right here. This is what's going to make things happen.
Yeah, this is what we really needed. There's a box in a box, so.
What is that? Just the
this
harness
box? No, that's the controller.
Oh.
This is the magic little guy. Look how small it is once we get the other one out.
810, dude.
810 liters per hour. This guy is a brushless pump. So being brushless, you could see how much smaller it is than once we get the other one out. It needs a driver, so we have this controller we have to put in. So this will run at 2 speeds. We'll have a low speed, which is around 400 liters per hour, and then a high speed, which is 810 liters per hour out of this little guy. Single pump, 810 liters per hour.
Is that going to be enough for 700 crank?
I think that's going to be enough for 700 crank. This is like serious big boy stuff. So we're going to have to plumb in the new pump, get all this wiring in. Look how beefy the wires are for the current it needs to handle. So we're gonna have to figure all that out. And then we got all this necessary lines, fittings, hoses, everything we need to get, you know, all the stuff to get the fuel system fully dialed in. So we're gonna go ahead and pull that tank out and swap to this little guy.
All right, before I head home and start working on the CAD, I'm gonna help Jack out because we gotta drop the tank, and I'm pretty sure it's got quite a bit of fuel in here. So gotta remove the drive shaft, disconnect all the lines and everything, and take this sucker out.
All right, so we got the pump fully disassembled. If you remember, we installed the DeatschWerks 400 into this. So we took out the original pump, gutted it out, and machined this to press fit this into the housing so we can use the stock bucket and everything. But now we're upgrading from the 400 to the 810, which you would think is bigger, but let's take a look, compare the difference here. Horsepower, baby.
Smells like horsepower.
Look at that, that's just a little guy. That's the difference. Over double the flow. So we got to modify the pickup again to fit this guy. It's even a smaller diameter, so we'll have to make something. But in the box comes everything we need to install this. We got new hoses. There's an electrical connector to allow us to run the new electrical through, because this has a 4-pin connection harness. So we have the harness in here and everything, the socks. It also has the electronic controller that we need to allow it to run the 2 speeds, because you don't want it running 800 liters per minute all the time. So it'll switch to the high. And then, because this is a serious pump here, it's got a threaded fitting that allows you to run a different style of output. So you can run -6 output, barbed fitting outputs, or even a huge S-8 direct from your pump. So we're gonna have to do some work to get this to fit in and package like we need it to. One of the drawbacks though is this doesn't have a jet siphon output from the pump. This being a Mustang pump, which is what we used before, it actually has this second output that can go to our jet siphon. So this guy is actually sucking fuel from the other saddle of the tank, because it's a saddle tank, and it's also filling the basket with another output. So we want to try to retain this. There's different ways to do it. You can run a jet siphon kit, which we actually got as well. So this is a jet siphon kit that'll allow you to run a siphon by pumping in some gas through one of the inlets. We can run this. The other way we're thinking of doing it is also teeing off the feed to feed up this stock line and allow the jet siphon to work as it did in the stock basket. The stock setup has a jet siphon, and it does 2 things. It's sucking from the other saddle, and it's sucking fuel from the tank and filling up the basket. So if we wanted to use this, we can do one of the 2. And at minimum, we need to suck fuel from the other saddle, because we don't want this side going empty while half the tank is full. But then we don't get to have the effect of filling the bucket up. We could get rid of this and just drop this basically into the tank, or drill a hole in the bottom so it stays at the level of the tank. But we think that's a compromise we don't want to make. So we got a bunch of fittings from DeatschWerks to try to get that to work, but we're going to need a couple other ones, so we'll figure that out as we move along. Let's see what we got right now.
The first thing we had to do was cut off the top of the stock pump holder to give us more room for activities. We didn't think the stock feed tube was large enough to complement this new 810 liter per hour fuel pump, so we cut it off from the top hat using a die grinder and grinded it smooth, and replaced it with a much larger -8AN bulkhead fitting.
All right, since we're upgrading the feed line to -8, we're gonna replace all this stuff with the DeatschWerks stuff. We're gonna have a new pressure regulator, a new filter, and it'll all be a -8 feed. So let's go ahead and get this junk all out of here and start putting in the new one.
After removing all the old stuff, it was pretty straightforward to swap to the DeatschWerks components. Most of the fittings we needed came with the box they sent us, so all we had to do was assemble it together and mark the spot to mount the new bracket that comes with the DeatschWerks fuel pressure regulator. Once the regulator was mounted to the bracket, we could mount the new fuel filter using an inline fitting to the regulator, all in the larger -8AN line. We are also installing a flex fuel sensor bypass adapter. Our current flex fuel sensor is mounted in line with one of the lines going to the rails, which is not ideal as it can create a restriction in the line. With this adapter, we will allow the fuel to have an unrestricted flow to the rails, while also being able to monitor the ethanol content. The bracket that comes with the adapter doesn't work in our package, so we're gonna have to design and 3D print our own before we can lock this down into place. All right, so we got the new pressure regulator mounted all up and routed. The new filter is here. We didn't mount it yet because this distance is different than the old one. So we got to 3D print a new bracket. This diameter is also larger. So we're gonna have to do that. Another thing we have to do is move the pressure sensor. So there's no real easy way to put the pressure sensor on here. So we're gonna go ahead and move it in the engine bay, which is actually probably what we should have done at the beginning, because we'll be able to monitor pressure drop on the lines. So we'll see the pressure at the engine, which is better than way back here. So we're gonna have to modify that. But we're still waiting on some parts to finish up the fuel pump. So that's gonna be a few days, and we're not gonna be able to put everything back together until we get that. But I really wanna hear what that pump sounds like because it's so fancy and brushless. So we're gonna try it out. Let's see what we can do. All right, so we got the pump in the fuel tank, all wired up, fancy with the connection here.
We do this way too often.
Yes, let's see how much it flows.
All right, we're gonna time to see how long it takes to fill a large Taco Bell cup here.
Ready?
Let me know. Okay.
1 on 3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
.6 seconds.
Okay.
All right.
That's low setting.
All right, so let's dump this back in the tank, and
It's quieter, right?
it is very quiet. I mean, we should try this with the other pump. I'm curious to see how it sounds with the, because it's open, right? We should be able to hear. I mean, we should be hearing it. All right.
That
this
should
is
be
high
the
setting.
high setting.
Here we go.
Ready? Go. Wait. Oh boy, oh boy.
On 3, dude.
Oh.
On 3.
Oh,
How you
right,
can't
right.
change
Oh,
things up like that.
Jesus.
This looks like DIY owes me a new phone.
No, it's clean. Fuel doesn't, it's not like water. 1, 2, 3. Holy
Christ.
Jesus. Okay, wait, but see, it's
No,
got a lot
it's-
more bubbles.
Yeah. Try that. Maybe if I baffle it a little bit.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
3.8.
3.8?
3.85. The other
So-
one was 5.6.
6.
It's almost 2 seconds faster.
Yeah.
So not exactly twice as fast, but this is also not very accurate.
Scientific. All right, now we got the older pump in there, the 400.
410?
400. All right, so we're gonna time this guy.
Right on 3.
1, 2, 3. Oh, it's much louder
And slower.
and slower. Wow.
7.
Wait, what? So even
So even at low speed, that one pumps a lot faster, a lot more, and it is significantly quieter.
yeah, it's
Even
a,
at
it's
the
a
high
nicer
stage,
sound.
right?
This is
Yeah,
like
it's super
very
high pitched.
Yeah, high pitch.
All right, so I think this wraps it up for this episode of Mythbusters. We've learned that little pump, the A10, can really push some fluid. So if there's one thing we've all learned in this video, its size doesn't matter. See you on the next one.
Sweater weather is just around the corner, so make sure to visit shopdiy.com and get your nice little warm hoodie. Right now, we got a whole bunch of options in stock. But if hoodies aren't your thing, which I don't know why they're not, we also got normal sweatshirts available, so check it out. shopdiy.com.